What is up, everybody? Jarrett from Empire of Assets. We got another mail day. This is probably one of the most exciting mail days since I got the PSA 10 Mothman back. For me personally, I'll give you a little backstory on why I bought these boxes, why I'm investing in something a little different, and we're going to walk through some PSA population reports, some kind of expected values. This is a sealed product. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. I'm going to open up the box here. Nothing too crazy. I always hate when people really hype up box openings. So we are just going to open them up. And what I have here is Star Wars. This is the 1996. So it came out before I was born. Star Wars Topps Finest set. It is the first Star Wars Topps Finest set that was made. They did remake these then, I believe. There's one in the 2013 and then there's one in 2018. But this was the first one. This is the original. So I do have a couple of these. This is a pretty big box. So I actually ordered 4 of these. They still are really affordable considering how old they are, in my personal opinion. So there is 4 of these bad boys. It looks like they're all in really great shape. I did pay $485 for these. So that breaks down to about like $20 for the shipping. So it's about $465 a box. But basically I was in it for right around like $120 a box, which is pretty good price. The cheapest one on eBay right now is, I believe, listed for $275 OBO, so well under half price of that. But let's talk about a little bit why I picked these up, what my thinking is, and kind of what the Star Wars moment for me was. Basically, this all came together when I was watching a Slab Stocks video. Again, huge shout out to Slab Stocks. Love Aaron and Nate. But they were covering the latest PMG Spider-Man sale. That was a kind of a friend of theirs that had bought it for $1,000 in January of 2021. They then got it graded. They graded a PSA 9, and then it sold at a PWCC auction last month, so December, for $72,000. An absolutely massive sale in the Marvel card world. I think the Marvel market has really taken off since then, especially PMGs, which are super rare inserts, basically, and incredibly tough to grade. So how does that bring us to Star Wars? Well, obviously, I think everybody kind of knows Marvel and Star Wars, the two huge Disney juggernauts. Star Wars has been around much longer than Marvel as far as the movies go. It's also got a huge fan base. It's also got new content coming out. Probably not as well done as Star Wars has been over the last decade or two. Obviously, Marvel's absolutely crushed it, starting with Iron Man and Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, and then building up all the way through the last movies where they all came together, the Avengers movies. Absolutely epic. I think they hold a couple of box office records. And then on the other side, you have Star Wars, which had Rogue One, which I thought was a decent movie, but then you also had basically the 3 flops in the whole Rise of Skywalker, Rey, Kylo era, which I think Kylo was a kind of a cool character, but it was just really poorly done. The last movie seemed like it was the director's all 3 movies crammed into one. The first guy didn't do a great job, just not well received. I wasn't a fan. They didn't make a lot of sense. And then at the end, obviously, with Palpatine going absolutely crazy, it was just bizarre. Not a fan of those. However, you do have The Mandalorian, which has been an absolute beacon of light in an otherwise pretty dark fandom, I guess. I absolutely love The Mandalorian. I love learning more about the Mandalores, their armor, all of that has been cool. Then you just had the Book of Boba Fett come out last week, which also seems to be really cool. Seems to kind of be a little grittier of a feel, maybe a little more violent. Definitely really enjoyed that. You have the Obi-Wan, I'm not sure, I believe it's a series, not a movie. But kind of his time after dropping Luke off with his adopted parents. He's on, I believe, Tatooine, but I'm sure we'll get some space adventures. But Obi-Wan, and it's going to be portrayed as Ewan McGregor. Ewan McGregor is my absolute favorite Star Wars actor, and Obi-Wan Kenobi is by far my favorite Star Wars character. It's not even close. I grew up watching him in the Clone Wars. the animated series, and General Kenobi with his armor and the patch on his shoulder is by far my favorite version of General Kenobi. Absolutely love Kenobi. So really excited for that. You got the Ahsoka Tano stuff coming out. It seems to be in good hands now after those big 3 flops, and I think it has a bright future. And I think if Marvel cards keep doing well, I think Star Wars cards could do very, very well as well. And going back to how undervalued these are, this is the first set that has a Topps refractor in it. If you know anything about sports cards, refractors are absolutely massive. They are the holy grail chase card. And this set was, I don't know if it was ahead of its time. For Star Wars, it certainly was a bit ahead of its time with the refractors. So it's kind of hard to tell, but the base card will have a sort of blue character or a grayish character on the back. I'll put up a picture right now so you guys can tell the difference. So the kind of bluish gray one is the non-refractor. That's just the base card. Those are incredibly cheap. You can buy a whole set. There's 90 cards in the set. You can buy a full set of non-refractors for like 25 to 50 bucks. Super cheap. Was that like 50 cents a card? But on the other hand, you then have the refractors, which have a gold character on the back, and then obviously in person they have the refractor rainbow, but it's really, really hard to tell in pictures. And these refractors are super, super hard to find. And this is kind of when things started falling into place for me. I started doing research on all of the Star Wars sets. I kind of skipped over the 1977 sets because that's just a weird market to me. Like, you can buy a Luke 1977 card for like a couple of dollars, but then a PSA 9 just sold for like 72,000, or maybe that was a PSA 10. That is a weird market, and I didn't grow up with those cards. That's kind of like vintage sports to me. I'd stay away, and now I'm kind of getting out of sports altogether. That's a different story. But yeah, the vintage stuff, not a huge fan of. Obviously, I know it's probably always going to be more expensive than this newer stuff, but I like the newer stuff, so I started looking at cards. There's a set starting in 1993. That is Galaxy Series 1, kind of the original staple set. Then you have this set in 96. Then you have, I believe, another Galaxy set in 97. And then it kind of drops off for a little bit. There's not a lot in the early 2000s. And then it starts picking back up in like 2000 and I think 8. And then 9 and then 10, there's all Galaxy sets. Then you start getting into like 2013. There's a couple of sets. And then finally up to like 2017, they started getting the huge Topps treatment. So then you get kind of bigger sets. There's another Topps Finest set in there. There's like the Master Visions set, which is really cool. There's a lot of autos, a lot of sketch cards, a lot of crazy stuff going on. And then ultimately you end up with 2021 Galaxy, which is kind of like a redoing of the original Galaxy sets. Absolutely beautiful. And with that, you start getting the numbered parallels that are found in all products, which definitely increases the scarcity. I believe there's like super refractors or superfractors in that product, which obviously are always worth a ton of money. They're one of ones, so those sell very well. But back to why I picked this one in particular. It's the first set with refractors, and they are hard to find. Like I mentioned before, there's only, I believe, one for sale on eBay. I'm not saying these are crazy rare, but I did find these on Facebook Marketplace, and that was the only place I could find any reasonably priced for sale. Now, they don't sell a lot, and whether that's because there's not a lot of demand, and maybe if demand started increasing, and let's say they rose up to $500 a box, maybe there would be hundreds of boxes for sale. I don't know about that for sure, but when I think about it, a product from 1996, still sealed, there's a ton of it made. That's why the cards are so cheap. However, refractor prices are kind of sneaky, I think. Basically, any of the big cards, so you're going to have Luke, Leia, Han, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Chewbacca, C-3PO, and R2-D2 is combined on one card. Any of those big cards in a refractor are worth about 50 bucks. And I'm going to jump over to the Psa Pop Reports real quick, just so we can look at those. There has been a total of 405 cards graded from here, not counting inserts, so just the 1 through 90 base cards and refractor cards. And if we look through the refractors, it's pretty crazy. There is Luke Skywalker, the most popular character, I would say, by far. There is 0 PSA 10 refractors. There's 0 PSA 9s. There's 3 PSA 8s and 2 PSA 5s, and that's the total pop report. This is the first refractor of the most popular Star Wars and well-known character of all time, maybe besides Darth Vader. So we'll jump over to Darth Vader because he's probably the most well-known. And if we do that, we look at his refractor: 0 PSA 10s, 2 PSA 9s, 1 PSA 8. There's 3 total graded. These numbers, to somebody coming from the sports world where there is thousands or tens of thousands of PSA 10 copies and maybe 50,000 total copies graded, is absolutely mind-blowing. These numbers are lower than Kickstarter Metazoo numbers, which just came out in March after PSA shut down, and the cheapest option to grade has been $100 a card. These have been out for 26 years, longer than that, basically, as of now, as of 2022. 26 years longer, and there's 3 Darth Vaders in the entire population report. Whether that's because people aren't grading them or these cards are rare, it's hard to say. But unlike new product like Pokemon, one of the things that I think could be really interesting long term is everybody and their brother and their mother and their sister, when they open a pack, if they get a hit, you hit a Charizard, it's instantly in a sleeve, it's instantly in a hard case. That didn't happen in '99 when Pokemon was huge. It was 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 12-year-olds playing with the cards, trading them, putting them in their pockets, throwing them in the dryer. A ton of the supply got eaten up due to that. And there's no way that that didn't happen to these exact same cards that came out 3 years earlier than Pokemon. I do not expect there to be a lot of remaining ones of these, and obviously they're very tough grades even as it is. Because of that, I think this is an absolutely almost bulletproof investment. Basically, it hinges on how popular Star Wars gets, and if these cards end up taking off, I think the sky is basically the limit for these. Now, that's not a guarantee. They could stay this price for the next however long. Obviously, the entire market's blown up. It's football, basketball, every single sport, hockey, tennis, golf, all of those have blown up to extreme proportions. You had Pokemon blow up, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Dragon Ball Super, whatever, Magic the Gathering. Every other card game has gone up tremendously since 2020 when the pandemic hit. Metazoo, brand new card games are taking off. People are paying thousands of dollars for sample cards from Kickstarter card games that haven't even launched yet. The market's absolutely crazy, and yet these boxes haven't moved hardly. The cards prices haven't moved, although there's not a lot for sale. They just haven't moved at all. So clearly this is not something on anybody's radar, and maybe it'll stay that way forever. It's hard to tell. But if the tides do change and the demand for these things raises, I think, like I said before, the sky is the absolute limit. So the last thing I want to wrap up this video with, and then I'm going to grab a nice thumbnail, is I just wanted to break down what's actually in each of the boxes, because if you are going to start doing research on Star Wars sets, you don't want just the base cards. Obviously, like I said before, the base cards of this set are worth about 50 cents. And that's just because it was the 90s, everything was mass produced, and those just aren't worth anything unless they're in a PSA 10 version, which could be another avenue, but I think you'd have to grade hundreds of the cards to get a PSA 10, and at $100 at PSA, probably not worth it. Probably not even worth $30 at SGC. So each of the box contains 36 packs, and there is how many cards in a pack? I actually don't know. I should have read this before we got into the video. 36 packs. It doesn't say anywhere in the box how many cards are in a pack. I guess you'll have to look that up for yourself at home, or I will leave it down in the description. I'm assuming it's probably quite a few, like 10 or something. But more importantly, because like I said, those base cards aren't important, is the inserts, because that is what's rare. So here are the pack odds. Again, 36 packs, so you can break it down. The embossed foil cards, these are really cool. It's a set of only, I believe, like 10 cards. Is a 1 in 9, so you're going to get, on average, 4 per box. Topps Matrix, which is, again, is just another insert. Really great artwork, is 1 per 12, so you're going to hit 3 per box. Topps Finest Refractors, now that is what I think is by far the most desirable, is 1 per every 12 packs. So then you can use that to extrapolate that this box probably contains 3 of those cards out of the 90. Now, I kind of did some rough math, and about 15 of the 90 are going to be main characters. That's like your Darth Vader. Even Grand Admiral Thrawn is worth quite a bit. So you got about a 15 out of 90 chance, which I believe is to 1 out of 6. So you got about 16% chance of hitting a card that's worth 50 bucks, and then the rest of them are all right around 20 to 30. So even if you take, let's say you hit on average like $35, and you hit 3 of them per box, that's right around $100. Even at the low end of 20, if you hit all bad ones, you got 60 bucks, which for a box that is this old is really good when it's only $100. And let's say you get lucky, you hit a Luke and you grade the Luke and it grades a 9. You're looking at probably a really, really good return on your box. So that's kind of why I picked these up. That's all I have for you guys today on the Star Wars Finest boxes. I'm probably going to hold on to these for a while. There's not really any point in selling right now. I could probably throw one up on eBay for $250 and just take any offers. But because I believe in it long term and I really want to see how it plays out, these are probably just going to get stuck in a closet for the next couple of years until they do some catching up with the rest of the market. That's all I got for you guys today, though. Let me know down in the comments, why do you think Star Wars is not worth as much as many of the other card games? Do you think it's undervalued, or is it just not have the demand like all of the other cards? I would love to hear what you guys think. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe. I'm going to have some more Star Wars content coming. It's kind of a big thing I'm into right now, and we'll see how long that lasts, but there is a lot of stuff that I would like to pick up just to have personally. A lot of Obi-Wan cards, like I said, huge Obi-Wan fan. So definitely have full intentions on starting a pretty nice little Star Wars PC. And that's also largely due to the fact that it's actually affordable to have a Star Wars PC, unlike basically any athlete or even Metazoo Kickstarter stuff. It's all really expensive. So that's why I'm switching to Star Wars for a little bit. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will catch you in the next video.